Welcome back to the Nerdrotic Nooner, everybody. Thanks for waiting. This one, of course, is late, like all the other ones are, but we are here together with so many things to talk about. And let's see who's here. Let's see who. Oh, Odin's Movies blog is what's up. He has a movie blog. It's in his title. Chris Persia, Mark Lazerth, Easy Does It, Luis Barrera, Jedi Knight and Friend to Alita, Crystal Vibes, Mira J, Dave, Maverick MX, and I'm looking over my camera here. Dave 2, lots of Daves here. Uncle Remus, Nicholas Horton, Persian Scribe, Tom Wolfinger, what's up? The official Dougie J, how are you? The official Dougie J, everybody, if you are new to the channel, is one of my oldest friends, and we grew up together, and he's the primary reason I'm very into Star Trek. It's because of the official Dougie J, who was an official nerd from day one. Kind of like myself. Kind of like all of you out there. Dave Kogan, Chrisser Moon, Freshman, Other One, Glip Glop, Tommy Oliver, I don't want to miss anybody, Kimber D, Force Ghost Jeremy, it's good to see one of the Jeremys in here, Elwin Brake, welcome to the Nerdrotic Nooner. How is everybody doing? So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, there's not a lot of news going out. We have Mark Hamill trolling Star Wars again. He just can't help himself, and God bless him. We know he doesn't like the Phantom Menace, but I think he secretly loves us. He might not like us, but he loves us because he knows that we have his back. And Jake Skywalker is a complete joke. And what they've done to Luke Skywalker is a complete joke. And that's why forever it will be known as Disney Star Wars to me. I can't call it Star Wars. When I refer to Star Wars, I'm referring to the real thing that we loved as we grew up and died in 2012 when Disney purchased them. And the same goes for Marvel. And I have to give a proper shout out to Clownfish TV because they did a video called Star Wars is for Karens. I'm paraphrasing. I don't know if that's the exact title, which is such a perfect analogy for what's happening to basically genre right now. This overcorrection and trying to get soccer moms, which is great. We want them in. It's not like we don't want them around watching this stuff. It's, I don't think you need to make it for just them, though. I'm just thinking the franchises wouldn't have lasted as long. Just saying. And no offense to anybody named Karen. I didn't make the meme. I didn't make it up. I don't make the rules. But Clownfish TV is great. They are great. I spoke to them briefly on DMs. They're very nice, and I like their videos a lot. I work out to their videos when either them or EVS, if he's streaming early, or Odin, if I work out in the afternoon. Then I'm watching Odin's movie blog. I generally don't partake in the chat, though, because I'm working out. What stream service do I use? Is it okay? How's the audio? I hope my audio is okay. You never know with my mic on this thing. I can take a listen here. You're going to hear me for a second. So, but it's impossible to test these things. Actually, I can do it with my headphones, which I don't have right now. So we'll just have to listen on the phone. But in the meantime, I'll read some chat. We're going to go over a couple articles, and we're also going to go over a Facebook post I saw, and I was going back and forth with this, and I I'm probably still going to make a video on it. I don't know. It's a public Facebook post by a comic book retailer who I know will probably not like the fact that I'm making a video or talking about it, but it's a public Facebook post. And honestly, it's something, where did my YouTube go? Good God. It just disappeared. Give me just a second here. Right. So it was a public Facebook post, publicly frustrated. When you're comic shop retailing, a lot of frustrating things can happen. and you don't have a lot of people to talk to other than other retailers because you're generally alone in the shop and you have to do a lot of stuff by yourself. And sometimes it can be frustrating when a customer comes in, but you never want to vent that frustration publicly or to the customer. I'm not saying I've never done it, but I learned my lessons very early not to do that because I learned to appreciate every single penny spent in my store. So when you say something publicly like all the guy did was buy $1 or was going to buy a dollar book off my dollar rack, which I lose money off of. Well, for one, don't lose money on your dollar books. Just saying. And you got, it depends on how you look at things. Not to get too much into the weeds on comic book retailing. You don't want to look at what you spent on each individual item, because if you do that, you'll go crazy. It's about volume. It's about other things selling, making up for the losses of other things. So say I've got some leftover books on something I over-ordered like Captain Marvel and I throw it in the dollar rack. Yeah, technically you're losing money. But overall, if you sell a bunch of those comics based on your discount, then you make the money back. So you're not losing money if you look at it as a whole and not individually. So for one, don't put dollar books you're spending more than 50 cents on your dollar rack. That's what I did. Not that I was perfect at any time, but here I got to check, make sure my audio is okay now, because this mic is like, man, sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. And I hate to do this while I'm live, but it's better now than... Okay, it sounds fine. Great. Okay. Love the title of this video. Thank you, Cameron Tebow. I have to thank Mrs. Nerdrotic and Clownfish TV for that, because they called Star Wars is for Karens. And then Mrs. Nerdrotic told me there's a book called An Abundance of Catherines. And I'm like, oh, An Abundance of Karens. And I like taking book titles, and, I can get cute with titles now. Because listen, with the live streams, I'm happy with however many people are here. We got 620 people watching right now. That's brilliant. Last live stream, I had like 2,700 people. It was a holiday. I guess nothing was going on. I didn't put any videos up. My Dave Chappelle video is doing very well. Thank you very much. So thanks for liking and sharing that. And that's what I want to start out with. I have to apologize, but in the future, I'm going to be in starting my videos kind of like Doomcock does, based on my suggestion that you have to ask for things. You have to ask for subscribers. You have to ask for likes and shares. People aren't just going to do it automatically. It's not shilling. You need to self-promote. False modesty is lame, but I am guilty as hell of it sometimes. So yeah, that's what I got to do. So that really helps the channel, especially nowadays on YouTube, where they definitely are taking those of us who are within the Fandom Menace, and they're not suggesting us as much as they were in the past. Now, there has been a major increase in that lately. My guess is the ad rates are going up now that the kids are back in school. Ad rates are going up on YouTube. They're going to go up even farther as we approach the holidays, and then we're going to get more traction. But until then, we rely on you guys to share our videos and to like our videos. So please do that as much as possible. Let's get Orville Nation. Let's get me to 1 million. I don't know if I can, that's million's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. I am really happy with where I'm at, but I will, more is always enough. That's the saying we have here. So please smash that like button. A $4.99 super chat from my old friend, the official Dougie J. I truly mean this. Your Chappelle Rotten Tomatoes video may be one of the most important videos you've ever made. Free speech is truly under siege. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Doug. I actually, I wasn't sure if I was going to put that one out, but, it's been a while since I did a Rotten Tomatoes video, and usually I don't go, and I try to keep it pop culture, but I felt the need to make that one. And listen, it was ready last night, and I was about to pop it on at 7 p.m. and I'm like, I'll wait for the morning. I don't know why I waited for the morning, just instinct, I guess. And yeah, thank you very much, Doug. Free speech is important. What Dave Chappelle is doing is important. Jeremy shared a comment from him when he was on In the Actor Studio from Dave Chappelle, where he was talking about the culture of Hollywood, and you can't deny what the man was saying. So he was talking about people getting to Hollywood and then they go nuts. And he talked about the kind of creative drive, the kind of drive that is needed to be successful in that town. You aren't a weak person if you're successful in Hollywood unless you get there for nepotism. But if you're somebody like Dave Chappelle, who wasn't there for nepotism, or Mariah Carey, who he brought up, these are people who, whether you like their music or not, you got to respect the fact that they work their asses off to get there. So when they get there, they go nuts. Well, is it crazy, or is it the culture of Hollywood? Well, I think we're all seeing now that it's the culture of Hollywood. And what Hollywood is doing is projecting on us now. And it's infecting the narratives of their show. So this whole Time's Up Me Too thing is Hollywood's baggage. You know, we're not the ones who cast people. We're not the ones who use a couch. We're not the ones who invented the culture. We just pay for everything. But you want to attack us. Okay, you know, and this is why, you know, nothing lasts forever. Nothing lasts forever. And there are a lot of alternative entertainment sources. And Hollywood, I am spying this now. What's happening to Hollywood is what happened to comics, what happened to music. You're losing a generation. Kids aren't watching your fracking streaming services. Kids aren't watching Nickelodeon anymore. Kids aren't watching the Cartoon Network. They're watching us. They're watching us on YouTube. And, you know, I am not just using my kids as a barometer. Any parent out there will know what I'm talking about. And I can do all I want. I can't keep them off YouTube. I can certainly use it. I can take it away from them, you know, if my kid ever did anything bad, but he doesn't. You know, I am blessed with a very good child, young child. The older one's an adult, so I can't control him anymore. And I couldn't when he was young. So he's very much his mother's son, a mother's son, very much a Melissa, a male Melissa, who is Mrs. Neurotic, by the way. I don't know if she's listening or not. She's at work. So what's up, Mrs. Neurotic, if you are. And yeah, they're not watching MTV. They're watching YouTube. And I'm not saying that, you know, I don't know how, I haven't checked my analytics to see the age. I just basically see what country. I have a lot of people in the UK. I have a lot of Canadian and Australian subscribers, which is brilliant. You know, it's from, and then Scandinavia. Oh yeah, it's pretty big. And I think that was because of YouTube, but I digress. They're watching us. So Hollywood has burnt up all of their goodwill. They're filling everything they make with their own brand of politics, which I don't even want to besmirch our friends on the left, because we have a lot of friends from the left here. I'm center, by the way, and the right, and they just don't present the other side of things. So I hope I explained it pretty well in my video, that if you are an equal opportunity offender, if you're, you know, making fun of one religion, well, then you should make fun of the other or have a commentary on the other, because there are certainly religions out there that are, well, could use some commentary, and it's not the one that they typically pick on. Now, there was a time when the religious extremist right in the 80s was a thing. It was an absolute thing. It's not that much of a thing anymore. Really, it's not. I think that's progressed. I think that religion has progressed in some aspects, and it's just not as much of a thing. And honestly, that was powered from Washington and not really from the religion itself. Let's be clear about that. And let's not forget that the PMRC was Al Gore's wife. Let's not forget that either. And I was very much against the PMRC, always will be, because it's anti-free speech, anti-free expression, which we should be allowed to do. And, you know, that means that, yes, they can put their form of politics in a TV show, and I can complain about it. And the beat goes on, and the public will decide what's successful or not. And, there's multi-layers to success. There's initial financial success, which we have gotten from Star Wars and the MCU. And then there's total success, which means beloved. What Star Trek used to be, what Star Wars used to be, what Marvel Comics used to be, what Doctor Who used to be, but they're not anymore. But if you do see a lot of similarities, speaking of Karens, and just basically the hairstyle, look at the hairstyle of the Doctor. Look at the hairstyle of the Herminator. Look at the hairstyle of Sarah Connor. Look at the new hairstyle of Captain Marvel. I'm seeing a similar hairstyle. Similar hairstyle. It's kind of weird, isn't it? What a coincidence. What's up, Midnight's Edge? How's it going, Tom? Good to see ya. Welcome to the chat. Cancel, Jeremy. Oh yeah, we want to cancel Jeremy. Oh, I got to get the chat down so you guys can see it in my overlay there. Yeah. So I'm using OBS. Somebody asked earlier. I'm using OBS. I'm going to have to change internet provider. I've been going back and forth with this internet provider. I am on the most expensive internet and its connection is still like meh. So I'm going to have to go to somebody else. They got fired. Here's some money and feel the love from Chicago, says Professor McCoy's Pop Culture Reviews. Well, thank you. And I love Chicago in the summer and in the spring. I've never been there in the winter. But last time I was there, I love your fair city. I went to all of your museums and you had a Harry Potter exhibit going on and I took my kids and it was brilliant. You know what? That Harry Potter exhibit was better than Galaxy's Edge. It was better than Galaxy's Edge. It was more entertaining than Galaxy's Edge. It had more to do and it was just basically a pop-up museum. Silhouetted animator for $10. FYI, I watched Pennyworth and it's kind of woke, but it's actually decent. It's not afraid to show female characters as three-dimensional and realistic. Also vulnerable when it's dramatically necessary. You mean like a normal person, like a normal character. This is how far things have fallen. This is our expectations are just in the toilet right now. When we're liking movies and things because they're just not woke. I mean, that's why I liked Aquaman. Aquaman was I don't even remember half the movie, but I liked it. I walked out of it going, I enjoyed that. Jason Momoa was, he was like metalhead. He was like my stoner friends, from high school playing Aquaman. He totally wasn't Aquaman at all. But, I walked out of the movie going, okay, Pennyworth. The thing I've got against Pennyworth is I don't really have anything against it. I just have no interest in watching it. Let me rephrase that. It's probably fine. I'm tired of supporting peripheral Batman stuff. Give me a Batman TV show with Alfred Pennyworth in it. And we're solid. We're good. I don't want to see the Aunt May adventures and Lucius Fox on the run. And no, I don't want to see any of this. By the way, speaking of which, I think Lucius Fox is going to become Batman in the comics. DC is so dumb sometimes. DC is, I love DC. They were about to take over comics and they just shot themselves in the foot. And it really didn't do any favors to those comic book retailers. And I'm going to go into more detail on that because screw it. I do a show, I provide a service, and it was a public post. And I just want to point out that it can be frustrating owning a comic shop, but and this is why I have referred to why I got off Twitter. Or if you see, I signed up for Twitter back in 2008. I used to use it all the time, and I would do that. I would vent my personal frustrations with customers and shite on Twitter, just really ill-advised, stupid things to do. And Mrs. Nerdrotic's like, you probably shouldn't do that. So I'm pretty sure most of the tweets are still there. They're very old and they're embarrassing. I know I deleted some, but you live, you learn. Silhouetted Animator, thank you for the $10. Thank you for the info. Silhouetted Animator you are a great resource. You watch everything. I trust your opinion. I think you have very solid taste. So thank you very much. Cancel Jeremy for $5. You could market the hell out of Chai Gary. Thousands of subscribers could leisurely watch your beard grow on their windowsill for or Chia Gary for $14.95. Chia. I got to show you something. Thank you, Cancel Jeremy, for the $5. You know what? If we do Chia Gary, then I'm going to have to give you a cut because you came up with the idea. So a little bit, just quick toxic mailbag. We're going to do like little bits of it as we go on. This is from, okay, it's McCustian. I hope he puts a note in here because he gave me some art, which is freaking brilliant. I hope I got, oh, here, okay. Here's the note. I got to make sure I can read this in public. Okay, it's from Jason McCustian. Okay, and it's pronounced McHuston, Jason McHuston. And it's Scottish. It says, "Hi Gary, happy 50th from Dagobah South, the statewide swamp that is South Carolina. So glad to have discovered your channels and grateful for your ongoing battle to save our beloved IPs and the art for good storytelling from the current plague of identity politics and virtue signaling hacks." What a smart person. "I hope to someday meet you, maybe have a cup of coffee and nerd out over the best lines from Big Trouble in Little China. Oh, I only drive as fast as I can see. It's like my last wife told me. It's all in the reflexes. Debate which is the greatest Social D album, compare our favorite Twilight Zone episodes, and discuss the hell and discuss why the hell we still don't have a line of Excalibur action figures. Right? Where are my Excalibur action figures, Hot Toys? Osmus, you make beautiful Lord of the Rings toys. I'm going to unbox one here towards the end of the show. I'm going to unbox a steed. And yes, you need to make Excalibur action figures. Maybe even engage in a little old school toxic masculinity. Well, we got toxic mailbag. I need to have an animation for that segment. Can somebody make me one? I'll pay you. Submissions to gary@nerdrotic.com. Toxic masculinity and decide who's hotter. Julie Newmar's Catwoman, or Linda Carter's Wonder Woman, or Aaron Gray's Colleen Deering. Yes, that's my answer to all three of those. Till then, I hope you enjoy the enclosed art and have a great birthday and many, many, many happy returns. All the best to you and your family. Sincerely, Jason McHuston. I know it's a Scottish mouthful, he says. Well, Jason, you must have been watching for a long time, and he did this. That's pretty cool. That is really cool. So Ghost Rider is one of my all-time favorite superheroes. Johnny Blaze and Danny Cash. I don't mind either of them. But that is awesome. So thank you very much. Is going to go on the walls of wonder for sure, Jason. Okay. And thank you, Cancel Jeremy, for the $5. Doug Kogan, Gary, love the Rotten Tomatoes open on Chappelle vid. Thank you, Dave Kogan, for £1.99. Johnny Rotten is a gift from the gods. He's I don't want to call him a nut. He is a true rebel. He is punk rock. He is the godfather of punk rock. He is one of the creators of punk rock. If there's a punk rock Mount Rushmore, but there wouldn't be because it'd be so un-punk rock to have a Mount Rushmore. So you would have to build a Mount Rushmore for punk rock, put Johnny Rotten on it, then Johnny Rotten would pee on it and destroy it. That's what Johnny Rotten is. So, and Johnny Lydon. I'm sorry, Johnny Lydon, because Malcolm McLaren owned the name for a little while, I guess. But yes, thank you. Professor McCoy's Pop Culture Reviews for $10. I feel like the world, again for $10. I feel like this world badly needs a new Mr. Rogers. What happened to the neighborhood? And what do you think about the new film starring Tom Hanks as Mr. Rogers? I don't know. I'm probably going to watch it because, I mean, if you're my age, you grew up on Mr. Rogers. I always wanted him to get to his little miniature land. I was always bored with the actual Mr. Rogers part when I was a kid. I wanted him to get to that little town or whatever. I can't remember what it was. It's been so long. But the only thing I remember from Mr. Rogers is the Robin Williams Mr. Rogers routine, which is great. Robert Maxey for $50. Gary. Wow. Thank you, Robert. Gary, what are your thoughts on the story that just came out about we're going to cover this, that the Mandalorian will reveal how the First Order came to power? Is it me, or does it feel like Disney is making movies in response to fan responses instead of just telling us a good story? Yes. We are so far in their head now. We are actually affecting creative. Well, I'm not going to use the word creative. If you read my description, again, this is from Clownfish TV. They're freaking smart. Okay. I don't mind shouting out other YouTubers, by the way. If I'm watching them all the time, I don't see it as competition at all. We occupy the same space. There's billions of people coming on this platform. There's plenty of room for everybody to have a channel. So I have no problem consistently shouting out people who would never shout me out back, and I don't ask for it back. But they said something really smart this morning. You don't call them creatives anymore. They're repurposers. Repurposers. That's all they are. This isn't creative. Don't besmirch the word creative by assigning it to people who are hacks and frauds. And that's what they're doing here at Disney. Yes, we are affecting them. They'll lie. They'll come out and say we aren't. These plans were always in effect. Blah, 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 blah. Don't believe it. Don't believe it for 1 second. I know for a fact that we have affected things at CBS. I'm not going to say I'm going to say we. Tom is in here. Rob, Andre, Doomcock. I think we've affected how they've done a couple things with Star Trek. Along with, but it's not just us. It's you. You guys give. We just hold the place to come. We hold the place. We are the place to come and gather. It's you who provide the power that actually gets them to listen and think and pay attention. And believe me, Hollywood is finally starting to pay attention to this new era. You know, they don't have that buffer anymore. We are directly talking to them. They are hearing what we have always said all along, and well, it's bothering some of them, and it's affecting their creative decisions. Yes. So we're going to find out about the First Order. Who cares? Who cares? I don't care how some ridiculous order that came out of nowhere that can just willy-nilly build planets that destroy 6 planets at once that I listen, when Alderaan was destroyed, you felt the impact. For one, it was the first time I saw an entire planet destroyed on screen. And we didn't even get to see Alderaan. We weren't there on the planet. But this is the brilliance of George Lucas's filmmaking, that we felt it through Obi-Wan and Princess Leia and their performances. And their performances were real and good enough to where we bought in. We felt the impact of an entire world being destroyed through 2 people. 2 people. But it was horrifying. It was horrifying to see. JJ says, let's destroy 6 planets. We'll just destroy 6 planets. And you know what? I felt nothing. We were supposed to have some story that was going to lead up to that girl that got destroyed. By the way, if they would have actually put that in Force Awakens, that would have been a direct copy to me of the beginning of Into Darkness, what they did with the Mickey. I don't know. I can't remember his real actor name, but Mickey from Doctor Who. We followed him as he blew up Starfleet. Well, you know, almost the same thing happened. A little changes, but you know, JJ likes to rip off from himself. and other people. But they cut that storyline out, so it doesn't matter. But I felt nothing when the six planets and was one of them Coruscant or not? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what planets were destroyed. Holdo was keeping that information from us because we're too male. But yes, they're affecting that. So the First Order, do you care how the First Order started? Because, if something finishes badly, I don't really care how it started. If something has no impact, I don't want to know the backstory. Disney is just digging their hole, and it ruins The Mandalorian for me. Now I'm like, oh, I was excited for it. Now I'm like, I don't give a shit about the First Order. And what's worse is if they build it up well, then they're wasting their time because the end result is still the new trilogy. It's still garbage. And, the only saving grace, people will compare that to the Clone Wars and the prequels. Well, the prequels that I'm not a fan of, and the reason I'm not a fan of the prequels is because everything is just stale, and the main characters, aside from Qui-Gon was good, Obi-Wan was good, but everybody else kind of sucked. And it was flat, and you can tell it was done in front of a green screen, and I'm sorry, but it's still better than anything Disney Star Wars did. I did feel a little something in Revenge of the Sith. I thought that was definitely the best of the prequels, one that I'll rewatch and has some pretty damn good moments. I for one love the Emperor, the Emperor fighting Yoda at the end. I thought that was rad. That was rad, and I've watched that scene over and over again. But the Clone Wars actually helped that. It did. But the problem is, the Clone Wars would have had more impact if the prequels were better, especially Attack of the Clones. Attack of the Clones was a failure on a lot of fronts, and I'm sorry to say that, but it's still better than anything Disney Star Wars, though. I'd rather watch Attack of the Clones 50 times than anything from Disney Star Wars, including Rogue One. I'd rather watch Attack of the Clones than Rogue One, because at least you get the, Yoda Dooku fight, which is great. So, no, I don't care how The Force Awakens started. I wonder if you guys care, because it's nothing. There's no depth to it. It's hollow because they didn't care. You know what? Hasbro put more care into their cartoons, which were essentially advertisements for their toys back in the 80s. But the Transformers cartoons and the G.I. Joe cartoons, they had heart. They had depth. They were cool for cartoons, for afternoon cartoons. Come on, let's be real. But and they have more depth than the new Star Wars films. And they were commercials. Alan Massey for $5. I want Chia-rotic. Chia-rotic. All right. Well, I mean, is it possible? I mean, sure. Why not? And you can see, if you watch my videos from when I cut my beard, when Mrs. Nerdrotic trimmed my beard, to the end of the year, you'll be able to watch it grow. Do you think the Catwoman movie by the way, thank you, Alan Massey, for $5. Do you think the Catwoman movie from 2004 is looking better than the Batwoman show? That's a good question, Silhouetted Animator for $5. You stumped me on that one. Well, considering I watched that movie in the theaters because I got free passes with some movie I bought. What was it? What did I buy that I got free passes for Catwoman? Was it Batman Begins? When did Batman Begins come out? It might have been Batman Begins. Yes, I will say Catwoman is probably better than the Batwoman show because Halle Berry can act. It's not her best acting job, but Halle Berry is a good actor. Yes, she is. I've seen her do good things. Very easy on the eyes, Halle Berry, by the way. Ruby Rose is not Brie Larson. So I don't want to come down too hard on Ruby Rose. She seems fine. She just can't act. I mean, that narration on that trailer is so bad. Oh my God. Some see fear. Some see hope. It was terrible. Catwoman. Professor McCoy's Pop Culture Reviews. Do you have a channel, by the way? It was Dreamland for Mr. Rogers. Thank you. Oh, you could have just told me that in the chat, but here, let me, I want to check out and see if you got a channel. Is it like a channel? Oh, you don't have any content yet, but you're going to have content? I mean, you have Pop Culture Reviews right there, right? So you're going to have some content, right? And Robert, it's Silhouetted Animator, and Alt, oh, it just jumped on me. Alt Shift M. Hey, Alt Shift M, have you ever seen the channel Alt Shift X? It's excellent. Very good channel. Local fans of yours. Finally catching a stream live on a slow day at work. My special other, and I would love to grab a cup of coffee with you one of these days. Well, are you in town? We can certainly do a local meetup. I plan to do one for the Rise of Skywalker. The plan is, I don't know if we can do this with a lot of people, is to buy tickets to Cats and sneak into the Rise of Skywalker and watch it as a group. So yes, we will do a meetup locally here in San Francisco. I'll probably go see it. We'll probably go downtown. Probably go see it at the Metreon or something. But yeah, definitely. Thank you for the $5 for sure. I'm at Pete's every morning around 9 or 10. It depends. Like today I was really late. Thank you, Alt Shift M. Matt Joseph for $5. The Mandalorian ends being the Night King. Expectations subverted. Oh, and the Night King and the Mandalorian is killed swiftly and easily by a young girl with a blade, because you never expect the assassin's blade, especially when the girl was suspended in the trees and comes flying out of nowhere and can get past pretty much unbeatable creatures that turned out to be not that unbeatable. One of the things I'm going to be doing on my Patreon is I'm going to be reviewing chapters of books I like. What I'll probably do is either play the audio or read it. One of the best chapters I've ever read is the first chapter, the epilogue of A Game of Thrones. And it sets up the others. And the others are, they call them the White Walkers and the Night King in the TV show in Game of Thrones, but they're called the others. And they're basically alien elves of ice. And they don't look like zombie natives of some kind. They actually look very Lord of the Rings, ethereal, more beautiful but terrifying. And now that we've seen the whole series, I really wish they would have run with that. It's not as grounded, but it's way cooler. It's way cooler. And they were far more deadly. Thank you, Matt Joseph, for the $5. Red Pilled Simp for 10 pounds and nothing to say. Well, good to be red pilled. Oh, hang on. That's Venture Brothers, Mars, by the way. If you're a Venture Brothers fan, you recognize that. I need to find the most annoying ringtone so I can actually hear it. Thank you, a Red Pilled Simp, and then an underscore. Thank you for the 10 pounds. I greatly appreciate it. Greetings to the UK. If you're in the UK or in Europe, we love our subscribers from the UK and Europe, and I can't wait to do a meetup in London and other parts of the UK, not just London. I want to go to Scotland. I want to go to Ireland. And now this might be possible. I want to know what happened to Wicket the Ewok after the made-for-TV episode Sith Lord or Jedi Master. By the way, I sent you a toxic mail. You did, Cracklin. You did. And I've got it. I'm not going to get to all of it today, but I'm going to be going through a couple. Now, there is something I want to show to you guys. This is going to be part of another video. But this is from Bounding into Comics. Hang on, let me get that other window up. Well, let's start with this, and then we'll go into what I want to show you that leads me to believe that the rumors I reported on are true. But let's get to this article real quick. I just want to make sure I'm putting up the right thing. All right. Oh, that's unfortunate. There we go. So Mark Hamill, bless his heart, is trolling Star Wars again. So what he did was, well, let's just read the article from the future Pulitzer Prize winning John F. Trent, who I believe will be joining us Friday for Friday Night Tights, and will be joining me Friday for Titans Episode 1 review. Yes, back to weekly TV coverage here on this channel. It has been months. So we are going to cover what I'm guessing will be another woke season of Titans, but I could be wrong. I'm hoping it's good. There were things I liked about it and a lot of things I hated about it. But back to this article. Bounding into Comics, John F. Trent. Mark Hamill takes aim at Disney Star Wars, shares top Luke Skywalker quote. Star Wars icon Mark Hamill took aim at the Disney Star Wars sequel trilogy. He took to Twitter to respond to official Star Wars Twitter account sharing the top 10 Luke Skywalker quotes. Hamill mockingly revealed the 11th top Luke Skywalker quote from The Force Awakens. As you can see below, it's blank because Luke Skywalker didn't have any lines in The Force Awakens. This is beautiful, by the way. So there it is. Top Luke Skywalker quote number 11. It should have been, hey, Mark, do you want to be in Disney Star Wars? I do, but I have to go to Tashi Station to get some power converters. I'll be right back. And then he never comes back. I do like this. God, I hate that scene. I hate that scene so much. This is after he was beaten by Rey with a stick and he's on the ground. Luke Skywalker is on the ground, beaten by Rey with a stick, and he's in fear. God damn, I hate Disney Star Wars. Yes, he's still mad. Look at that. That's SC Reviews. Yeah, he's still mad. Why wouldn't he be mad? It's his entire effing legacy. I mean, not all of it. He still has the animated series Joker, which is, I'm sorry, more prolific now than Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker has been ruined for me. I can try to pretend Disney Star Wars doesn't exist as much as I want, but I saw The Last Jedi and it ruined the trilogy. It undid everything he did. But I must be an alt-right troll. So, we're going to get to, if I can find it, I'm pretty sure I saw an article on it here. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I got to find it. Oh my God. Birds of Prey is going to suck. They're basically taking all the sexy out of it. Yeah, they're taking all the sexy out of it, and it's going to be Birds of Prey for Karen. Birds of Prey for Karen. But I want to show you guys something here that I thought was interesting. Sith emblem changed. So the Sith emblem, the Sith insignia, or the Sith symbol, has been changed. Has been retconned. Why? I mean, it couldn't be because of residuals, could it? I mean, no. I don't think so. That would be crazy to think that Star Wars retcons new canon Sith logo replaces Legends. Why? I mean, I don't know if George Lucas even had access to that. I don't know. But I looked at the Boba Fett picture yesterday, and listen, the Mandalorian trailer was good. It was good. But as Comics Division points out, it looks a lot like the Boba Fett from the Star Wars special, or the design for it. While he's missing certain things, it certainly looks like to me, as a novice, a 25% different Boba Fett. When you could have just made, I don't know, a Boba Fett series. Again, it sounds like they're copying some stuff from Dark Empire. Why don't you just copy how he survived the Sarlacc pit from Dark Empire and give us Boba Fett? Why not? I mean, who cares? You're screwing everything else up. Bring back Boba Fett. But no, they don't want to do that. I don't think that's a logical decision. Why didn't you put original trilogy characters all over Galaxy's Edge? I just don't think that's a logical decision. And I don't think it's a logical explanation to hear that Bob Iger liked some dailies. He saw some dailies from the Star Wars new trilogy, got so excited, had them scrap the plans of putting original trilogy characters into their Star Wars land and made it all new characters. So Bob Iger just burned, I'll say billions of dollars eventually, over time. But he's a genius. He's a genius. So now they're changing. And listen, I'm not like Mr. EU. You can talk to Comics Division and other people for that. Here's my thoughts on it. Right or wrong, this is how I feel about it. Star Wars started out in movies. So to me, all original, all final canon, all final decisions on canon happen in the films. And if it doesn't happen in the films, and there's no TV shows yet, it's kind of in question to me. Now, I know Rebels is canon and Clone Wars is canon, and that's fine. And I've seen all of both of them. And I love most of Clone Wars, and I like some of Rebels. And Resistance, I did not. I watched one episode, and I no. So for those out there who just think I pick things to troll, and no, I actually leave a lot of stuff behind. I don't review Supergirl. I could. That's low hanging fruit. That would give me tons of clicks, but I don't. I didn't review Resistance. I was ready to. I watched the episode, was about to go live, and said, I don't want to talk about this. It's stupid. All right, so the Sith have a new symbol in Star Wars canon, which seems to replace the one previously used in Legends. While Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine were the two Sith Lords in the original Star Wars trilogy, it wasn't until the prequels released that Lucasfilm dove deep into the history of the Sith in canon. Up until then, practically everything Star Wars fans knew about the Sith came from the expanded universe, later Legends. But that's slowly starting to change. It seems the Sith are returning to play a part in J.J. Abrams, the repurposer Jar Jar Abrams, Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, which is why leading up to the sequel's release in December 2019, Lucasfilm is making a big push with more Sith-related content. They began with Palpatine's return being confirmed at Star Wars Celebration, and then continued with an announcement shortly before at San Diego Comic-Con. The Sith Troopers will appear in The Rise of Skywalker, and now it looks like another bit of Sith lore has found its way online. Star Wars keeps retconning what the Sith are. And that's a related article. Gearing up for Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker's Big Force Friday event, the merchandising team at Lucasfilm unveiled a batch of clothing and other Star Wars related goods for Karen on the official Star Wars website, including a phone case that featured a new symbol, Karen, with the word Sith, Sith Karen, under it. So we have Darth Karen, Captain Karen, and Dr. Karen, which has since been removed, but there are other Sith-related items, such as a purse. I don't know about that. A makeup kit. It would be fair to link the two together by association, but the particular symbol previously appeared alongside Darth Vader in Star Wars, Who's Who in the Galaxy character storybook, in the Who's Who character Galaxy storybook. So there's the new symbol. And honestly, it's not like I care. I just wanted to bring up that why would you change a symbol it's a symbol and the other one was fine, but they need to change this one. And this seems to happen every time J.J. Abrams gets involved in something. every single time. So JJ, as I said on the Inquisition, is a snake oil salesman. He basically runs a pyramid scheme in entertainment where he BS's his way into a franchise. He doesn't care about these franchises. I had a good analogy for Kurtzman and JJ, and I forgot the name now. Hang on. But I'll get to it in a second. Sorry. Okay. I'm back now. So he's a poser. Alex Kurtzman is a poser. They call themselves fans. Well, they are now. They're fans in the sense where, of course we can control this franchise. Of course we're fans now, but they never were before. And I am going to stick with my promise. Every single Star Trek video I make from here on out will start with the bumper of Alex Kurtzman saying he wasn't a Star Trek guy. He was a Star Wars guy. I'm not going to let him forget he said that. And what they're coming in is, and they're just, they're widgeting everything. So they're sucking all the passion out of it, especially since all they're doing is changing, because this is a way non-creative people can be creative. People who are hacks can find their way into the industry by basically just repurposing things. And that way they don't have to really create a whole story or create a whole character, because they're just putting a new paint. It's, what? Alex Kurtzman is if you all remember the Batman animated series line, remember when it got ridiculous? Remember when they were just repainting Batman 1,000 times? And I remember getting the Batman 100 figure because they had redone Batman 100 times. So they made a Batman 100 figure and they just painted them yellow and they would reverse colors. That's all JJ's doing to Star Wars. And while I can appreciate it with action figures, I can't appreciate it within film, especially with characters, especially with one that I liked as much as Luke Skywalker. I'm sorry, this is totally distracting me, so it's got to go away. Now let's get back to the chat. Something popped up, some news, and all right. So let's get back to the super chat. Sorry. And then I'll get into the chat. What's up, Selena Kyle for $4.99? Hi, Gary. You were going to either both Storm Area 51 or Alien Stock Festival events planned and recently discussed on the Coast to Coast with Norris. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go because I'm going to New York for New York Comic Con as a trusted member of the press. Hopefully Mrs. Nerdrotic is tagging along. And I think I heard Jeremy say he was going to go. I do need to talk to Jeremy still. Hopefully we can we could do a meetup, but I can't. I don't want to do Storm Area 51 because unless I was actually going to get onto Area 51 and meet some aliens, I don't want to hang out with a bunch of people who are just okay with, I don't like Burning Man. So I don't want to go to Alien Burning Man. I don't like people who go to Burning Man, and the people who go to Burning Man are going to go to Alien Burning Man. So yeah, actually it's the best time to come to San Francisco is during Burning Man because all the idiots are out of our town. No offense if you go to Burning Man, but it's just not my scene. Okay. I don't like patchouli oil. Listen, there are pretty women running around half naked. That's awesome and everything, but I'm a happily married man. Gary, toxic mailbag today. I already did some, Destiny Captain. Ha ha ha. I did some. I know you ask every time. Oh, and I'm not Captain Spire. I always get you mixed up. You have like similar symbols and stuff, but yes, I know you're not. But yes, would love to watch Harry Potter and the First Order. Says SPDA 242 for 20 Swedish crowns. Thank you very much. Thank you, Destiny Captain, for $4.99. I'm kind of going backwards here, folks. It jumped on me. All right, Cracklin. I want to know what happened. Oh, I already read that one. Thank you for $4.99. Thank you. And okay, Silhouetted Animator for $5. I read from Titans Access Instagram. My God, you follow the Titans Access Instagram? Okay, you have my respect. Silhouetted Animator is a true nerd. You have achieved full nerddom. Dominus Ominous. I read from Titans Access Instagram, a very trusted source, that a Metal Man show is in the works for DCU. Hell yes. But it can't be Metal Men. It'll be Metal People or Metal Person. But no, that's great. That's awesome. I did see the very ending of Young Justice, and it got my son really excited because there was a Legion superhero ring. That was cool. That was cool. All right. Red pilled simp gives me 5 more pounds and says nothing again. You know, he's just like dropping money and going, but say something in the chat. You don't have to, but thank you very much. It's appreciated. You keep the lights on here. You keep the content coming. It's stuff like this that allows me to go to New York and go to the places and meet you guys. Quite frankly, I'm going to do that as much as I can because that was fun. It's been a long time since I had I always have fun every day and I love hanging out with my family, but I'm kind of a hermit now. I don't go out much, and it was nice meeting you guys. That was one of my favorite things to do. It was great. Selena Kyle, thank you again for the $4.99. Sorry, not going to Storm Area 51, but have fun. Wear a cup. Silhouetted Animator for $5. Who's Karen, by the way? Karen is basically a basic biatch. It's no offense to the name anybody named Karen, but it's kind of a meme. Plankton's nagging computer wife from SpongeBob. Yes, that's exactly it. Which I'm sure they're going to remove from SpongeBob any day now. God, remember when SpongeBob was good? Those first few seasons. Oh my God, it was genius. And the first movie is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Straight up. Original Star Wars fan, OG Star Wars fan here for $5. DAU, Disney Alternate Universe equals not canon. I love it. I love it. That is good. It is the DAU. I give you full credit for that, original Star Wars fan. That's an OG Star Wars fan right there. Johnny Midnight for $5. I am Sith gendered male. My preferred pronoun is Dark Lord of the Sith. Thank you, Johnny Midnight. Thank you, Johnny Midnight. All right, we got to get to another article here. If I can get to it. There is a lot of like peripheral Star Wars news. But this one is about, it's kind of long. I don't know if we should, yeah, we can do this one in a little bit. Because somebody is complaining that we're complaining about the MCU, and they certainly, oh yeah, we need to talk about this. The Kristen Stewart thing. Let me get back into bounding into comics. I know I saw, and our Kristen Stewart claimed that she would already have a Marvel a role if they weren't homophobic, and I'm like really finding that hard to believe. Unless they're going to blame it on poor old Ike Perlmutter again, which they blamed everything on. So we got Karen Stewart here. Claims if she didn't hold her girlfriend's hand in public, she could have gotten a Marvel movie. Really? When was this? Charlie's Angels actress, Kristen Stewart, actress, I'm air quotes there, claimed if she didn't hold her girlfriend's hand in public, she could have gotten a Marvel movie. Stewart told a British magazine Harper's Bazaar, I have been fully told if you just do yourself a favor and don't go out holding your girlfriend's hand in public, you might get a Marvel movie. Who said that? She told British magazine's Harper's Bazaar. She continued, I don't want to work with people like that. Well, who said that? Earlier in the interview, Stewart revealed she changed her mentality from protecting her life to enjoying it, and she discussed what she described as the old school mentality. I think I just wanted to enjoy my life, and that took precedence over protecting my life, because in protecting it, it was ruining it. Like, you can't go outside with who you're with. You can't talk about it in an interview. I was informed by an old school mentality, which is you want to preserve your career and your success and your productivity. I need some receipts on this one. Stewart would add, I think we're all kind of getting to the place where, I don't know, evolution's weird thing. Oh my God, she says, I don't know too much. I'm just trying to figure out who said this to her. It's unclear if Stewart's claim regarding Marvel films have any validity. Yeah, you know what? It could have been a friend talking to her. It could have been her agent talking to her. Was it Kevin Feige? Was it Bob Iger? I mean, I don't want to defend these fools right now, but considering what I'm seeing from Marvel's Phase 4, I don't think they have a problem with it. So it does sound like she's trying to force herself into a Marvel film. Here's the reason she probably didn't get a Marvel film. She can't act. I don't think anybody in Hollywood cares if you're gay. Half of Hollywood is gay. There's a lot of gay people in Hollywood. And as far as holding hands in public, listen, I know I'm aware of where I live, but nobody has a problem doing it here at all, anywhere. Nobody has a problem doing it in San Diego. Nobody had a problem doing it in LA. I just don't know who would go, you can't hold her hand. Who would do that? I think she's trying to play up the victim card a little bit. That's just me, and maybe it was somebody from Marvel who told her that. But that's a pretty serious accusation. Yeah, it just sounds like somebody trying to stay relevant because your Charlie's Angels movie. You know what? The fake woke marketing isn't working well enough. So let's ratchet that up a little bit. Let's ratchet it up. Okay, let's get to something else that's triggering. Can you guys see that right there? Yeah, you can. All right. I want to apologize to our friends at Bleeding Fool. Okay, I've done some writing for Bleeding Fool. I actually will be doing an article for them soon about the Orville. I have an Orville video I've been planning forever, but it turns out that this video is actually going to be sponsored. I hope you guys are okay with that. It's Skillshare. I have signed up with Skillshare. I figured if Dave Cullen can do it, I can do it. And I'm going to do an Orville video, but it's going to have a lot of you guys in it. And it's going to basically talk about, a good fandom. It's going to be a very positive video on like how to treat your fandom and how a show where not necessarily everybody agrees on every issue in the show can still love it because the creators of that show treat everybody with respect. Basically, if you voted for the president, you aren't considered a demon, an istophobe. You're considered a person, and that's simply all we ask for. You don't have to agree with them. But to that, we have Bleeding Cool. Now, Bleeding Fool is what you should read. You should read Bleeding Fool and Bounding into Comics first and foremost. Those should be the first two websites you go to. Yeah, they got some ads. Well, I mean, Bleeding Fool doesn't really. Bounding into Comics does, but they need to pay the bills. John F. Trent costs a lot of money. They need to pay him his millions of dollars a year. Just kidding, John. So we have She-Hulk Backlash. Why fight when we can drink their tears? Opinion. So this is from a comic creator. And listen, he did create a comic. I didn't read it. I wouldn't read it. His art's okay. I mean, he looks like he's somewhat talented. He's, it looks like self-published Indiegogo stuff. I think his comic raised $18,000. That's a big chunk of money. I mean, it's nowhere near, the 100,000 your boy Zach or 200,000 your boy Zach got. And what, how much did Cyberfrog get? Like $500,000? Is it $500,000? That's a lot of money. So let's hear the other side. This is from September 2nd, 2019. I actually saw this on my live stream 2 days ago and I still might do a video on it, but let's just share it here. Being a fanboy of pop culture can be quite toxic. especially when you're a part of a marginalized group. So, before we move forward, let's talk about marginalized protected groups. And let's talk about it in the frame of the comic book industry, which is filled with artists and creative people and repurposers. Sure, there might have been a time where race, listen, racism exists, sexism exists. Of course it exists. But things are better now than they've ever been. Are they ever going to be perfect? No. Progress, not perfection. I don't know what it's like to live in this guy's shoes, and I don't want to pretend to, but I just try to look at my, listen, I've got one of many things I can pull from my victim chart and play a victim card and say, woe is me, I'm a victim of this. And I am definitely, I am part of a very marginalized group, like literally marginalized. Like I don't have the same rights as most people do. I don't complain about it at all. And I don't consider myself marginalized, because once you consider yourself marginalized, well, then you are. But that's all on you. So that's my opinion. Yes, comic books, films, and television shows are forms of escapism from reality, and they tend to focus on protecting the underdog against the tyrannical evil. But it's clear that the latter, well, not really, not anymore. Now they're fighting circumstances. There's nihilism and everything. So nobody's fighting. It's superheroes fighting each other or crying and quitting. That's what we got. Or we got She-Hulk here, who was helping a cooking YouTuber for a little while. But it's clear that the latter message gets lost when something is changed, and it doesn't go away of the general audience who tend to be catered. And doesn't go the way of the general audience who tend to be catered usually. Case in point, Disney Plus recently announced She-Hulk live-action series, and to check out our thoughts on who should be cast, click here. I'd tell you who they're gonna cast, but I might get in trouble. Just guess. She-Hulk, aka Jennifer Walters, is a beloved cousin of Bruce Banner, known famously. Well, for one, they're going to change her origin, right? Aren't they changing her origin? Because she can't get the power from the guy. Hang on. Let me, I want to, because I know I just saw a Young Ripa thing on there. So we'll get to that in a second, but I'm pretty sure they're changing her origin. My guess is she's not getting her powers from Bruce Banner anymore, because women can't get powers from men anymore. That's not that, because if you get your power from a man, then it's patriarchy, whatever. Spanning various volumes of comic books on her own, miniseries, guest appearances, etc. Majority of them have nothing to do with her cousin. She has control over her gamma radiation combination, both of her personalities, while being one of Marvel Comics' premier lawyers. And one of the better female characters, quite frankly. Up until, SJW Marvel, I liked She-Hulk quite a bit. John Byrne's run is one of my all-time favorites. Outside of comics, she's been a popular character on TV, having been voiced by actors like Cree Summers and Elizabeth Dushku, as well as she was popular on TV. Where? Was it Earth's Mightiest Heroes? Or did they have her in the Fantastic Four show? I can't remember. The animated Silhouette Animator. Did they have her in the Fantastic Four show? I can't remember. Or the Hulk show. As well as having a major role in a number of video games. Yet some reasons the announcement of the She-Hulk series has brought vitriol from the fans. No, it hasn't. Nobody has a problem with She-Hulk, with the show She-Hulk, the character of She-Hulk. It's how they're going to present her and what they're going to put into that show. Nobody has a problem with the actual show itself. It should exist. I've wanted to exist. I did a podcast 5 fracking years ago when they announced Captain Marvel, saying that they should do She-Hulk first because she has more personality. It's a more likable character. Who saw her inclusion as pandering. Nobody said that. And as an attempt to wipe out male characters. No, nobody has a problem with She-Hulk. Nobody's ever had a problem with She-Hulk other than current Marvel agenda, their cult leftism that they have been producing, the garbage that they are producing, and more importantly, the garbage that has been coming from the fingertips that hit the keyboards of the garbage people creatives who attack people who pay them consistently because they voted the wrong way in their eyes or they have some opinions of their own. Who saw her inclusion as pandering and as an attempt to wipe out male characters, even though out of the 31 films, which includes a few announced films, only 3 of the films have women in starring lead roles. It's a nice change of pace to see 4 of the 8 upcoming announcement shows being fronted by women, much to the fear of entitled fanboys. Okay, here we go. This is that same thing that we fear women. I don't know where this narrative came. Okay, so this narrative, the truth of this narrative is they want to, if you tell a lie enough, it will become true. And they want this to be because it's not a fear at all. Nobody has a fear of women. Nobody has a fear of women starring in anything. What we don't like, it's not a fear. What we don't like is insulting our intelligence, preachiness, and like I said before, a cultish brand of agenda and politics put into comic books that are supposed to be made for everyone. So we get the cult members who come out and write articles because they completely agree with anything. And when you see where this guy comes from, by the way, he's a model. You'll understand. He comes from the sect of the comic book quote unquote club that it is now, this little cultish club that has completely taken over because all of the good talent is gone because Marvel wasn't paying them. And there's a lot of reasons that who inherited comic books were basically the alternative press expo people, which were the worst people to write superhero comic books because they all hate superhero comic books. So they're trying to make their little indie San Francisco School of the Arts comic books out of our mainstream superhero comic books. And I preface just to let you know where I'm coming from. Listen, I am into indie music. I've always been kind of indie, underground, alternative, whatever you want to call it, punk rock, whatever, except for comic books. I love my mainstream comic books with men and women in tights, the hero's journey, freaking Superman, Spider-Man. I like the most basic level comic books. I'm really not into the indie comic scene aside from Vertigo. I really don't like underground comics. I really think the art sucks. I think that Cal Arts version of art sucks. I don't even think it's good art. I'm sorry if I'm offending people here, but I just don't like it. I don't like the art from Adventure Time. It's ugly. I'm not into it. I'm just not into it. And that's what's happened to comic books, and it's been destroyed. When Rob Liefeld looks good, because he looks damn good now, that's how freaking downhill things have gotten. And, you know, I'm a little bit, I don't consider myself, I know how to draw. I'll show you a drawing later. It's bad, but I mean, like, listen, I wouldn't make a living off it. Another recent example was the backlash that erupted when our new Aquaman, previously Aqualad, in Young Justice was revealed to be bisexual. Yeah, I do have a problem with a cartoon sexualizing cartoon characters, and I know the argument. So hold the phone. I live in San Francisco. So the argument is you're trying to normalize sexuality. Well, then why make them bisexual? Make them gay. But are we going to have relationships? Are they going to start getting down in a Young Justice cartoon? What does this have to do with superhero storytelling? Or are you just trying to check a box? Because that's the problem I have. If you're going to make it part of a narrative, fine. If it's going to make sense, fine. But you're just checking a box. You're checking a box. Aqualad being bisexual, well, I think we all assumed every water-based character is kind of gay anyway. So, I mean, that's fine. But, you know, I guarantee you, The MCU Namor will be by. You heard it here first. Suddenly, it's an example of emasculation of black men. Well, and how mainstream media always seems to make strong black males queer. You know, that's something I kind of was wondering about. But, I mean, I'll let other people have that argument. I'm not probably the best person for it. Ignoring the number of straight black male superheroes or just this series alone. And then he lists them out, whatever, who cares? I don't care. I mean, honestly, I don't care. But do I watch a cartoon to see that? No. And like, listen, I don't watch a cartoon to watch a straight couple make out. I don't want to see making out in my superhero cartoons. But, you know, people like Young Justice. And I did too. Arguments such as the pandering to the PC or catering to the social justice warriors. Yeah, very valid arguments there. What's, by the way, what's your name there, son? What's your name there? He's probably going to hate it that Greg Anderson Elsie, marginalized person. Just that's what he claims. He calls himself a marginalized person, so he's marginalized himself. He's put himself into a box. How unfortunate and unwise. Arguments such as pandering to the PC and catering to the social justice warriors, even though technically all superheroes are social justice warriors. Actually, they're not. They're called superheroes. That's your own damn label that you applied to yourself, and we use it in a mocking fashion. Because what a social justice warrior is to us is somebody who changes their avatar on Facebook to when there's a mass shooting and thinks they are making the world a better place. You are part of the cancel culture who will take a person like Kevin Hart and get him to quit what was his dream job, according to Dave Chappelle, because he wouldn't apologize to you. Our good friend Eric July, Young Ripa, one of the best YouTubers out there, made a video last 24 hours called "Don't Ever Apologize." And don't, never will, don't do it. Because once you apologize to this cult, and that's how I see the social justice warriors, as a cult of extreme politics, are seen as Eric July did a great video on that. Watch it. Are seen as sound arguments to the entitled. I was waiting for him to mix that in. So we've got in one article, we've got drink their tears, marginalized, entitled fanboys. Yeah, I mean, it's got it all. It's a smorgasbord of 2016 arguments. It's like this was this article written in 2000? I got to make sure this was written this year. Yep. September 2nd, 2019. This is very 2016. I used to be one of those people who argued left and right with people who had an issue with equality or representation, but it reached it to the point where it got tiresome. I used to believe if I can change one person's misguided opinion on this matter. Okay, you're coming at it misguided, son, because nobody has a problem with these things. Nobody has a problem with it. See, they're changing the goalpost. I mean, that's why I'm calling this a 2016 argument. So we're arguing. I'm trying to think of an analogy here. We're arguing. We're at a restaurant. Somebody gave us a peanut butter and jelly. For some reason, you ordered a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Just roll with me on that. The PB&Js are good. And you're saying, I don't like this PB&J because I asked for raspberry jelly and you gave me grape. And then the person who gave you the PB&J says, oh, well, you don't like this sandwich because I'm black. That's the best analogy I can think of. We don't like what's presented in the story. We don't like propaganda. We don't like, I'll let, again, go to Eric July. He's got a great argument on all of this. And, he's got a better perspective than I do, obviously. And, tokenism, especially when, and we'll get into it. We're going to talk about the Winter Soldier Falcon show and what the premise is going to be. It's very meta. So he's arguing about a different thing than we are. And he knows this. And this is how you continue the narrative to try to keep us in that alt-right istophobe box, which, good luck. It's not working very well, by the way. It's not working very well. We're already seeing acknowledgments of fandom. We're seeing acknowledgments of the fandom menace. We're seeing what we just spoke about, them changing plots, changing direction. We're having impact because they can't put us in that box anymore. They can't marginalize us as much as he tries. You have to read between the lines, but this is just an attempt at marginalization. After a while, I grew weary, and I do too. And I wondered why arguing with such closed-minded set of people should have on me. Well, maybe if you actually didn't argue with them on Twitter and sat down and talked to somebody and had an actual conversation and understood nuance, maybe you would understand where people are coming from on this, where they're truly coming from on this. But my guess is you're not arguing with anybody. My guess is you're not really listening to the other side on that one. But that's why I like to read these articles. As a comic writer, all right, now let's just, again, he's a comic writer. He wrote a comic, a crowdfunded comic. I don't know. I don't tend to call myself something unless it can pay my mortgage. I've written a comic book. I don't call myself a comic book writer. Like, I just don't. I've illustrated a comic. I don't call myself a comic book illustrator because it cost me more money than I made. It's just not, oh man, hiccups. I was too busy creating my own stories to care anymore. What I stand for is seeing clearly and obviously in my own writing and characters. Oh, so he's just trying to shill his work. I should add to the characters I choose to add voices to. One thing I noticed, the more these announcements happened, the more I laughed because I started to enjoy the tears of these fanboys, especially realizing the times move forward and push for more representation of anything other than male and straight continues to grow. No amount of angry disapproval of these new characters who cater to another crowd are stopping these companies from making more. No amount of backlash because of the gay couple on CBS All Access Star Trek Discovery kissing while being led by an Asian and black captain. Well, I guess you're not watching the show, dude. I guess you're not watching the show. Unfortunately, I did. So I'll finish this and I'll smack them down on this one. No amount of backlash because a gay couple on CBS All Access Star Trek Discovery kissing while led by an Asian and black captain have slowed down the popularity of the series of the franchise. Okay, so I'm guessing you watched the trailer for the pilot, and that's what you're commenting on because the Asian captain died in the second episode. So she's not there anymore. She's part of Section 31, and it's an alternate version, and she's not in charge of anything. Well, not officially. I mean, because she's a female and she's in the show. She's in charge of everything. It's the worst Star Trek TV show in production or ever put into production. It has split the fan base, and not a single person has ever complained about the black person in charge or the gay couple. The only thing we've complained about is the black person who was the star of the show. They decided to make her a human who acts like a Vulcan, which is creatively a stupid, ridiculously bad decision. And she doesn't have the chops to be a lead actress. Nobody wants to replace her with a white dude. No Star Trek fan would ever say that. Your complete lack of understanding of Star Trek fans or fandom do that. I want to say one more time. If anybody is a true istophobe out there, no true istophobe would watch Doctor Who, would watch Star Trek. Nobody. Those shows have always been the way they are. One of the most popular characters in Doctor Who is a bisexual male. So yeah, nice analogy, but yeah, and nobody complained about. People complained about the only thing that's been brought up is the gay relationship in the Orville has more depth to it. You actually know these two characters because it's well written. They're just, that's all they are in Star Trek Discovery. They're just two gay men kissing. There's nothing more to them than that. No amount of disapproval of Starfire having dark skin and being played by Anna Diop has led to DC Universe's Titans being canceled. No, the shitty writing will lead it to be canceled eventually. And no, I don't care that she was black. They should have just made her skin orange. That's all I wanted. I don't care who was under the orange skin, but she doesn't look like Starfire. And most of the criticism was actually of the pretty racist decision of the costume maker to make her look like a freaking streetwalker. That's all I'm saying. No amount of bigotry towards Miss Marvel for being a happy Muslim. Well, we want angry Muslims. That's what we want. Superhero, who will also be part of the MCU, has stopped her from being one of the most popular teen characters of the current generation of comic books. Okay, whoa. Show some receipts on that. Show some receipts on that, because I'll show you canceled books and sales under 20,000. Now, hey, that might be a lot to you as an independent comic book maker. 20,000 books might be a lot sold to you, but we're in a country of 331 million people, and I get more views on my bad videos. So, yeah, than you sell. So why bother or be annoyed anymore? I'm just going to lie back and enjoy this new and more elusive. So if he's going to lie back and enjoy it, why is he writing this long of an article? Is he saying peace out? We never knew who you were in the first place. So yes, inclusive. So here it is. So why bother to be annoyed anymore? Well, it sounds like you're pretty annoyed. It sounds like we got under your skin because your argument is disingenuous. Look it up, son. I'm just going to lie back and enjoy the new and more inclusive stories while you're not enjoying the ones you just read off. Miss Marvel's not a popular character, and you didn't watch Star Trek Discovery, but you talked about it, and that is this generation in a nutshell, and that's who Star Trek Discovery is made for. Star Trek Discovery is made for this dude who watched the trailer for the first episode so he can say, well, there's a black woman and an Asian woman in command. Well, again, the Asian woman's not in command. She hasn't been in since episode 2. And quite frankly, I'm sorry to bring this up. I didn't make this up. It's just fact. The most popular character from the show just happened to be a white dude. Just pointing it out. Listen, I can't help it if Pike was popular and well played by Anson Mount. You know what? Honestly, if Michelle Yeoh had maintained the original Philippa Georgiou, I would have been okay with that. I liked her performance as the stoic Philippa Georgiou. I do not like her in her alternate universe, which is kind of like a mom trying to act sexy at a Halloween party, like dressed up as a madam. That's how I equate the performance. So he's gonna peace out on us after writing a big long article on Bleeding Cool. I used to believe if I can change one person's misguided opinion. Oh, I already read that part. I don't want to read that shit again. No amount of bigotry. Okay. So why bother? I'm just going to lie back and enjoy the new and more inclusive stories while sipping my tea from the sweet, sweet, disapproving tears of those who have nothing else better to do than become the villains they've read about in the superhero books. And he can do this all day, but he's going to quit. By the way, Greg Anderson Elsie is a marginalized Haitian American comic book writer and educator. Oh, he's educating kids. Great. Filmmaker, okay, and model. He's a model. He is the writer and creator of a comic series called Isnana the Were Spider, which is garnered 5 Glyph Awards. Oh, what's the Glyph Awards? It's got 5 Glyph Awards? Hang on. Let's see what the Glyph Awards are. Better not be porn. The Glyph Awards, the Glyph Comic Awards, recognize the best in comics made by, for, and about people who aren't white. The preceding calendar year, while it is not exclusive to black creators, it does strive to honor those who have made the greatest contributions to comics medium in terms of both critical and commercial impact if you're not white. First awarded in 2006. Okay. All right. There you go. There you go, folks. As we look at Karen there, I'm back. Let's go to Toxic Mailbag. That was tough to get through. All right. Give me just a moment here. All right. So are you still with me? We got some more Toxic Mailbag here, and we are going to get to, I'm going to get the Super Chats after that. But we've got, I got to make sure I can read the letters. All right. And what is this? Oh, yeah. It is Vulcan Stew. Vulcan Stew, landing party survival ration meal ready to eat. This ration was created by cosplay fan artist Logan Dean for cosplay art and props purposes only. That is awesome. Okay. I got to tip my glasses down. Hi, Gary. This past weekend, as a part of a long road trip, I went to a meetup for mreinfo.com where I met the YouTuber Steve, 1989, who is one of my favorites, right up there with you and Doomcock, Mecca, and Jeremy, and learned a lot about military rations. We toured MRE Nation's ration factory, and the one thing I found out is that they produce custom rations for various military and civilian customers. I spotted this on the table in one of one-offs and prototypes they had made and managed to convince the owner to sell it to me for a few bucks. Oh, that's awesome. I hesitated about whether I should send it to you, Doomcock or Mecca, but since it's your birthday, I decided to make it your present. Thank you so much. To you, yes, there's real edible food inside. Shelf stable for at least 5 years. Oh, shelf stable for at least 5 years, but I haven't opened it. No, so the exact nature of what's it is much a mystery as it is to anyone. I hope you like it. If Star Trek can't give you a good TV show, movie, or if it can't give you a good TV show, movie, or game, then at least maybe it can give you a good meal. Happy birthday. I just turned 46 myself, and I know that it's not as much fun as it's cracked up to be. No. But if we survive the Cold War of the 80s, the mosh pits of the 90s, and the paranoia of the post 9/11 era, we can get through this too. Oh, that's awesome. Narutakikan, thank you. P.S. Enjoy your time in California while you can. I'm a former Bay Area myself. Gone 2 years now. I miss it all the time, but well, it was a time to go. I'm sure you understand. I know you don't think so. Instead of asking to hoist a beer for me, I will hoist a burger at the Black Bear Diner for me. You got it. I will. And yeah, it's going to be tough to go. I've lived here all my life. But it's time. It's no longer, this is not the California I grew up in anyway. So this is awesome. That is awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, let's get to some super chats here. How is everybody doing? We can get rid of that. And we can get that going. All right, where was I? Johnny Midnight for $5. I'll read it again. I am a Sith gendered male. My preferred pronoun is Dark Lord of the Sith. Thank you, Johnny Midnight. Northern Ranger 01 for £10. The fans managed to make more engaging stories and characters, and the corporations write it off because it makes them look like monkeys, and they are basically repurposing monkeys. Unhinged Crank for $2. Mary Sue reports RDJ rumored to be back with Riri. Oh, really? That's got to be a video then. But it's not going to be. It's going to be the AI. So they're doing Riri. They're doing A-Force. I mean, I was saying that for 2 years on this channel. I've been saying it. Others have been saying it too. But we all knew they just skipped about 40 years worth of material to get to all new, all different Marvel. My guess is there's intellectual property law that's got something to do with it. There's creators they don't want to pay. They want to get to the, Disney is the Borg. To use another clownfish TV thing, Disney is the goddamn Borg. I would give the Night of the Fire Beast a try. It's a great indie comic for kaiju fans. From Professor McCoy's Pop Culture Reviews for $5. All right. Noted. Jeffrey Stubbs for Australian $2. No comment, just a super chat. Thank you very much, Jeffrey. I greatly appreciate it. Canadian Highlander for Canadian $2. Hail, Gary. You consider Fan Expo in Toronto, Canada next August? Maybe. I need to go to Canada. Yeah, I could do that. But I would have to skip. Well, I might not be going to Comic-Con next year. The only way I'll go to Comic-Con again is if I get a press pass, which I might get, because I'm not going to go through that stupid process of spending I don't want to commit myself to anything right now. But I'm okay with it being my last. I'm very excited to go to New York Comic-Con. I am extremely excited about that. Unhinged Crank, thank you again, or not thank you for the $2. Doc Holliday for $5. I'll be your Huckleberry. One of the greatest movies ever made. Man, that is some toxic masculinity right there. Would you like to see an ElfQuest series? And if so, how do you want to make it? ElfQuest was the first comic I read and instantly loved. Doc Holliday, I would like to see an ElfQuest movie made in the tone of the Lord of the Rings films. Like I said about Dark Crystal, dial down the fairy and pixie dust a little bit. But ElfQuest is awesome. ElfQuest is very good. Another good comic company that was good with fantasy comics that died, unfortunately, was CrossGen. Sojourn. It just jumped on me. Hear your short story. Disney hashtag Disney Logic. Here's your short story. Hashtag Disney Logic. Thank you, Professor McCoy's Pop Culture Reviews for $2. Disney Logic. That's a good hashtag because they have their own logic. You're right. Darkstar76 for $10. Hey, Gary, I must say you are 1000% right about Dave's new show. I finally watched Saturday. Funny as hell. We need more Daves out there to flip off the SJW woke bull S and its supporters. You rock, man. Thank you, Darkstar76. I would not steer you guys wrong. It was one of the funniest specials I've seen in a long time. I've watched all his specials, and this one had more listen, he's not changed his tune. This is Dave. He's always been this way. It just shows you how much everything else has changed. And it's not for the better. We are not progressing. We are regressing. Dave Chappelle told it like it was, and it was needed. And I'm glad he was the man to do it. And we need more of it. We need more comedians. And maybe Dave can lead the way now. Maybe some comedians who maybe felt like they could only do Orange Man jokes, but they really don't want to. Maybe they could break out and finally, and I know there's others. There's people who defend Dave, and that's good. We need to support them. We do. But I've been so turned off by comedy, I don't even want to listen right now. The Big Red Bear for Canadian $5. Gary, it's not just about residuals to Lucas. It's residuals to Bad Robot. He basically changes those things enough to keep stealing from them. Exactly. You're exactly right, Big Red Bear. Thank you for bringing that up. That is true. It's not about the residuals to Lucas. That's a great point, by the way. I need to remember that. Modalicious for $2. Keep saying my message is too long for $5. Why? Well, I mean, just email me. You don't have to give me a super chat. Just email me, Modalicious. Gary@nerdrotic.com. That sucks. I'm sorry. Adelmork Offdelf. Adelmork Offdel for 50 Norwegian crowns. Just watch Coogan's Bluff again. Highly recommend. If you haven't seen it, SJWs will not like it. Real clean Clint Eastwood. Such a great film. Great film. Great film. Modalicious. $2. Star Wars The Last Jedi World War II needs Patton, but all we get is Bob Hope. Thank you, Modalicious, and that's true. Felipe Abrigo for 5 Chilean pesos, dollars. Being offended usually gives power to the people. Comedians always made fun of kings, and these people feel as such, though their lives are empty and they don't have any real power at all. You're right. They're kings and queens of the keyboard, but they're actually the fools. They're hollow. They have hollow lives. And listen, I'm not kidding. All of this stems from self-loathing. It all stems from self-loathing. And if these people could just get right with themselves, they wouldn't feel the need to spend so much time trying to ruin other people and bring other people down to make themselves feel better. You know what? It's not Dave Chappelle's fault or anybody else's fault that your life is hard. Life is what you make it, you know? Best time is now for $9.99. Chappelle Sticks and Stones wasn't a red pill. It was a red enema. It was. Straight up. Straight up. Thank you. Jason Adams for $4.99. Hey, Gary, did you see Mark Hamill in Nightfall? He was amazing. I haven't seen Nightfall yet. I wanted to see that, though. He was in season 2, right? Nicholas, you know how I found out he was in Nightfall? I was at the DMV. Pop culture news has made its way into the DMV on the TVs in there. Nicholas Horton for £5. She-Hulk appeared in the 90s animated Hulk series. That's right. And Disney's Hulk and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Smash animated series. That's why I didn't. I remember the comic book. I wasn't going to watch that. But I thought she was in either Fantastic Four or Hulk. I couldn't remember. Canadian Highlander for Canadian $2. Hail, Gary. You considered Fan Expo in Toronto. Oh, I already read that one. Sorry. Jeffrey Stubbs, $2. Okay. All right. The Big Red Bear for Canadian $5. Best part of Titans, having Robin murder a street full of people in the first episode. Turned it off. Then never turned it back on. F that show. Yes, after he murdered a bunch of people, he said F Batman. And the reason he left Batman after he murdered all these people is because he almost murdered somebody. And he thought Batman was being an influence. So he almost murdered somebody, left Batman, then murdered a bunch of people. He wasn't supposed to murder. It's actually, he knocked them all out, but like, he knocked them all out by stabbing them in the D with scissors. Our good friend Tommelfinger, who was in the chat, did a great video of the Teen Titans Go theme with that guy getting stabbed in the nethers over and over again by Robin with scissors. The only thing good about the Titans reviews is I get to make a lot of dick jokes. Because dick, you know. Adam Child for $5. Someone should make a chunk scene parody from Goonies. One person vomits in the theater and everyone vomits while watching The Rise of Skywalker. LOL. That might actually happen, Adam Child, for $5. That could actually happen. Modalicious for $2. MRE factories are run by sadists. Just try pooping. Okay. Oh, Modalicious, you're hilarious. Tokyo Gaijin for 600 yen. My friend, how are you? I have a bookmark from Star Trek Phoenix. I know where Klutzman stole the split delta from. Yes, he steals from everything. They repurpose everything. Blue-eyed Scorpio for $1.99. Hey man, you are my favorite Gary. Nudging out busy. Oh, Busey. Oh, I beat out Gary Busey. I love Gary Busey though. I do. That guy bumped his head like a little too hard, but god damn, he's funny. Well, that is an honor. That is an honor. Because usually Gary, especially when they apply the name to somebody in a narrative, it's usually somebody who's gay or lame. There's no cool Garys usually in scripts. The most famous Gary quote is from Weird Science. Gary, you said you were combing your hair. I was, Mom. Zixie Vax for $2. If you can break away from New York City, I am in New London, Connecticut. Well, why don't you come down to New York City? Come down. See, I mean, I'm coming most of the way over there. I'm making the 1,000 or was it 3,000 mile trip. You can come down 100 miles, see me. I know New York is a bit tough. I know it's a bit tough, but like I wouldn't know where the hell I was going on the East Coast. I've spent a ton of time in like the South and Midwest and Southwest. I've been to the East Coast like a couple times. I don't know it at all. Modalicious for $2. Chat is effed up. 50 characters only with $2 allowed. What? Why? There must be something going on. How strange. Modalicious, I'll look into that. I'll check my settings, but I haven't messed with any. Hi, Gary. Just wanted to plug Ichibaka's new IGG campaign. He needs $30,000 to fund his new book, which compiles the Disney Star Wars is Done blog into a book form and additional research and content. Michael Rodriguez for $10. Itchy might have asked me to do that. I would be happy to do that. Itchy, anybody, Phantom Menace. You need me to plug something. I can be kind of a pain in the ass to get a hold of. Just bug me. I'll do it. You don't need to pay me. I'll plug you. I mean, if you want to give me super chats, great, but I'll plug you. I plug Phantom Menace. So Ichibaka's campaign, what's it called? Star Wars is Dumb. Is it on his website? Let me check. I'm telling you, all of us owe Ichibaka big time, man. So, oh, there it is. I got it. Is this it? Did it just start? Okay, here we go. Now there's another book I need to sponsor as well. It's the Phantom Menace Part 1, and I'll find that one too before the end of the show. But this we need to plug because we like Itchy. Itchy's awesome. There we go. Let me get that so you can see it. And I will get you guys the, here is the link. Okay. Now, Disney Star Wars is Dumb. It basically, Ichibaka has been chronicling all of Disney Star Wars' mistakes, which is pretty much, he puts up an article every day, basically, but he has compiled some pretty amazing, you know, the one thing I missed, Itchy, if you're listening, I saw this in our private messages. I don't know if it was you, Ichibaka and Data Racer, do great work. One of those guys put up the fight scene between, well, the third fight scene between between Reylo in the Rise of Skywalker trailer. Looks exactly like a fight scene from Revenge of the Sith, right down to the spire that they're fighting on. I'll find the image, but I mean, I want to give them credit. Like, I need to put that in a video because Itchy also found out that Rian Johnson ripped off the goddamn Holdo hyperspace scene from somebody. So that's going in a video as well. Itchy always gets full credit. So here we go. Summary. Disney Star Wars is dumb. And by the way, guys, anybody creating work within the Phantom Menace, contact me. What I can do is I can make a bumper for my live streams that includes all your work and everything. So we can kind of do it in one little commercial, basically. And I support it fully. I will financially support this myself. So, because I want him to hit his goal. 30,000 is a pretty reasonable goal. So I think we can do this. He's got 8 backers so far. He's going to have 9 with me. Disney Star Wars is dumb. A Geek Gate story. Summary. I am a longtime Star Wars fan. I saw the original in theaters way back in 1977, as did I, Itchy. When Disney purchased the property from George Lucas, I was skeptical, but I saw the trailer for Episode 7 and was cautiously optimistic. I went to see The Force Awakens. I walked in anticipating the next Star Wars film. I walked out not caring if I ever saw another. What's interesting to me now, however, is not the franchise itself, but rather all of the drama that surrounds it instead. It's clear to thinking people that the golden goose that was Star Wars franchise is now being cooked. I find the story of how the Star Wars franchise is in the process of imploding to be absolutely fascinating. And, listen, you probably weren't listening to me years ago. I have said multiple times, books will be written, and they're starting to be written, on how badly Disney effed this up and how badly Disney's effing Marvel up. Now, people don't see it yet. Okay, so with the MCU, we're in the Force Awakens phase right now. There's a lot of people denying it. We haven't had an MCU Last Jedi. As much as I would like to think Captain Marvel was it, no, Captain Marvel was the Force Awakens. The MCU Last Jedi still hasn't happened yet. And, it's probably going to be some major damage to what, it could be Guardians. Who knows? I doubt James Gunn would screw that up, but it could be it's something. But we're not there yet. I've attempted to express my opinions on blogs, discussion forums, and comment sections. However, because the venues are more often controlled by progressives, opinions contrary to their own are exceedingly deleted or marked for spam. So I've opened a blog as my own way to publish contrary and perhaps unpopular opinions that are not allowed to be expressed in various online safe spaces. The blog will provide the foundation research for this book. Due to popular demand, I have opened a campaign to transform my blog into a book. This campaign will fund the 6 to 9 months needed to collate and organize the pre-existing research as it exists on my blog into a cohesive and coherent narrative. Additionally, research and investigation will also take place during this time period. Research, the determined image usage, and fair rights will also be ascertained. During this time, my blog will also continue chronicling events until The Rise of Skywalker leaves theaters. The narrative of my book will be organized according to the phases of the Geekergate, which is really the most important finding to some out of all of these. If it can then serve as a tool for others seeking to fight Geekergates in their own hobbies. The fund will also cover the Indiegogo and Stripe percentages, costs of publication, shipping, packaging, etc. Also, since Disney is notorious for their lawsuits, the Disney Star Wars is a knockoff version of genuine Star Wars anyway. I will be recreating certain images with photographs of knockoff Star Wars action figures. Oh, that's a great idea. Such as Ideal Star Team and others. That is a great idea. The compilation of this book will be put into record fans' perspective of the events surrounding Disney's takeover of Star Wars. Hashtag Disney Star Wars is dumb. Please support Itchy Baka. What do I get? Hang on a second. 35, I get a book with a signature for claimed. Well, I mean, like, here, I don't want to do this. I'm going to give him $100, but I'm not going to do it. Like, hang on. I'll show you the receipt. Hang on. Let me back it. Continue. I got to fill in my name. Oh boy. This doesn't have my autofill yet. And And we're going to go to Gary@nerdrotics.com. Doing it live. We're doing it live. There you go. Whoops. Boy, my site's bad. I'm pretty sure. Oh, whoops. There we go. And then I got to put that in. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm backing Ichibaka live on the air. Put your money where your mouth is. There we go. And I'm not a robot. I agree to the terms. I'm not a robot. Okay, so $100 just sent to Ichibaka. Star Wars is dumb. Oh, I forgot to put my postal code. Whoops. Okay, they're processing. Okay. There we go. So just to show y'all, thank you for backing this campaign. So please consider helping out Ichibaka. Hells yeah. All right. A little more toxic mailbag here. This comes from, well, that's to me. This comes from Sparkus Aurelius. Oh, poor Sparkus Aurelius accidentally gave a huge super chat on the Exozone that he didn't mean to do. He meant to give me $5, and he gave us 500. I since refunded. Oh, I can't. Sparkus, I'm going to read that card later. It's really long, and I have to get my reading glasses for that one. The writing is really small. But Sparkus, I love you, man. He got Planet of the Vampires. Directed by Mario Bava. American International presents Planet of the Vampires. Sweetness. He gave me a birthday card, a Doctor Who birthday card. That's awesome. And, wow, we got more stuff in here. What do we got here? Oh, dude. It's like my birthday all over again. I recently turned 50 if you're new to the channel. So, what? Oh! Yes! Yes. We got to open this bad boy. Oh, hell yeah. Such a beautiful ship. That is beautiful. Thank you, Sparkus. It's all, you know what? I saw the goddamn Halloween candy going up at Walgreens. Okay, what do we got here? That is a lot of packaging, Sparkus. Oh. Oh, what? Oh. Dude. Oh, that is rad. Oh my God. I love freaking props too. That is sweet. That is so sweet in every way. Ah, oh. Sparkus, bless you. That's going to go on the wall of wonder. Okay. That is so damn cool. Now, somebody sent me this, and I don't know who it was. I just got a magazine. I believe it's Doctor Who magazine. Oh, wait. Oh, sweet. Now, did they just send it to me? A voyage through classic science fiction shows you love. Yeah, somebody just sent me this magazine. I wonder if it was the sent to airmail If you want to take credit for this, it doesn't say who it's from. It doesn't say who it's from at all. But hell yeah. Anything with that man on it, I'm reading. And look at this right there. Oh, right there. Yes. It's everything that's good in the world on one cover. Everything that's good in the world on one cover. I will definitely be reading that. So brilliant. It's from the Royal Mail. So it's British. It's British. So again, thank you. And please tell me who sent this magazine, because I dig it. And it's also got a big finish ad on the back. We love Doctor Who. Okay. People are messaging me. I got to make sure it's not Mrs. Nerdrotic. Oh, it's Geeks and Gamers. Those guys are always chit-chatting away. What's up, Jeremy? What's up, Jeremy? Okay, here we go. Michael Rodriguez for $10. Hey, Gary, I just wanted to plug. Oh, I already read that. Duh. Okay, so I hope Ichibaka's happy with this plug. I just gave him a commercial and I backed his book. $100 I gave Ichibaka. So listen, give what you can. He's got the 2 tiers on there. They're both really affordable. They're not too expensive. I put the link in into the chat. And I will pump it later. JC Shaggy for $5. If George Carlin was still alive, he'd make these SJWs crazy. God, we miss him more now than ever. We really do. Thank you for the $5. Glip Glop for $5. Thanks for the kind words the other day. Really helped. Just joined you and Doomcock on Patreon. Keep the truth going, Uncle G. You got it. A salute emote right there. Salute to you. I will keep it coming. And listen, I got a good response from the Chappelle video. So that means there will be more videos like that. Okay. Adam Child for $5. Gary, you're awesome. I love Zelda. Would love to see you, would love to see a live action Zelda show. Also, any chance there will be an Ewok heroine saving the day in Star Wars? An Ewok heroine? Probably. I guarantee you if we see an Ewok, it will be a female saving Wicket or whatever his name was. I can't remember. Nina Fabiano for $5. What's your favorite horror comics? My favorite horror comics are EC. EC, like right here. Hang on. I just knocked over a feet. Here you go. These are my favorite. I got these at a used bookstore for like nothing. And they are wonderful. Yep. So I also, yes. So those are my favorite. But anything Weird Science, The Vault of Horror, and The Haunt of Fear. Those are my favorite EC books. They're the best. Thank you, Nina. Cracklin, you could play the Gary from Ace and Gary's ambiguously gay duo. I know. But who would play Ace? Odin. Odin. Thank you, Cracklin, for $4.99. Dark Saber Force for $10. Y'all should read Chuck Huber's Android 17 affidavit about how Funimation has been mistreating Vic Mignogna behind his back for almost 20 years, and Vic never knew it. Vic got screwed. I stand with Vic. Vic Mignogna got absolutely screwed. This has been well chronicled by Nick Rekieta, by That Umbrella Guy, by that Yellow Flash, and others. Hero High. I'm not too familiar with them, but I mean, I know they've done like great work. But his life is effed. His life is fucked. His life is fucked because there was a huge jealous clique at work. That's all it was. A bunch of freaking weirdos, voicing anime. And listen, I love, my son is such an anime snob now. He's all, I watch the dubs. I don't listen to I don't listen to the dubs or whatever. He reads it. He likes the original voicing. So, yeah, I mean, I like Vic in Star Trek Continues. That's what I know him from. And I think I love Star Trek Continues. It's a brilliant, brilliant show. He got screwed. If there's evidence to the contrary, actual actual physical evidence produced, then and he did what he was actually accused of, he should certainly get in trouble. But they should have gone to the cops, to the police. But they didn't. F Google 2 for $2. Bendis Legion of Superheroes President Supergirl. Oh God. Never mind then. Thank you, I think, for the $2. Adam Child for $2. Last thing, any Ghostbusters 3 or Bill and Ted news? No. It's actually been all quiet. Bill and Ted are going to have 1/6 scale action figures from Hot Toys that are amazing. That are freaking brilliant. I saw them at Comic-Con. I might get them. Jason M for $10. Referring to the past stream, Carnival Road does have a male Fae in it. The social commentary is pretty thick in the first couple episodes, but seems to dial back later. Yeah, that's what Mrs. Neurotic's gotten ahead of me on that one. And she said all the racists in it are male and are bald with chops, though. Which is typical. Bruce Lombardo, if you like the Orville, you owe it to yourself to read the 2-part New Beginnings Orville comics. They bridge the first season and the second. Bruce, I have them. I just haven't read them. By the way, hang on. What's this? That's going to be next one. I did get some coffee. I got some coffee. I got some more coffee, which is good. I was running low. Was it Captain? God damn it. Destiny Captain or Captain Spire? I'm sorry, I can't remember. Sent me like a box of Pete's. But this is Black Rifle coffee. It's excellent. It's really strong. It always comes with a little cool sticker. And I got some more coffee. So thank you. My God, I love coffee. I do. I'm going to have some more. Bruce, I will read it, and you know what? I'll do a review. I'll do a review on Nerdrotic Live. How's that sound? Is that fair? Shucksy for $2. Gary, is there going to be an NYCC Sunday meetup? I don't see why not. But man, it's coming up soon, so I need to get my plane tickets. I need to get Mrs. Nerdrotic added as a member of the team. And I really need to talk. I'm so overdue on talking to Jeremy. He's probably mad at me. Ancient Porto Drago. He's not. Jeremy's cool. Ancient Porto Drago for Canadian $2. Series about Dragonlance World of Kryn. As long as it's not made this year. Anything made this year is going to be freaking woke, except for maybe the Lord of the Rings series, which casted the lead actor from Bandersnatch, which is good casting, by the way. Totally down with that casting. I'm guessing he's going to be an elf. Alte Mork Alfdel for 50 Norwegian crowns. I owe The Last Jedi something, I guess. If not for it, I would not have found the great people in the Fandom Menace. So, Rianne, thank you for leading me to Gary at all. Likewise. If it wasn't for The Force Awakens and Phantom Menace, I wouldn't know Jeff. I wouldn't know Jeremy, EVS, Doomcock. Well, Doomcock was Star Trek, but I mean, it's all part of the same thing. I think that's going to be my video for, I was supposed to do a video. I did most of it for Geeks and Gamers. And then the article got really old because I had a bunch of stuff, personal stuff get in the way. That's why things have been kind of crazy. There's been something going on. It's fine. Nothing terrible. I mean, it's annoying. I mean, you don't want to know. It's boring stuff. But I got a great idea for a video today on how we can have the Star Wars fans maybe have a little empathy for Star Trek fans because they're going through the same thing. So going through the exact same thing. But if you're a Star Wars fan, you might not necessarily be a Star Trek fan, but you want to show solidarity to your Star Trek brothers and sisters or sisters and brothers and Orions and Klingons. Because they are going through the same thing as the Star Wars fans, right down to the Jake Skywalker thing, because they just did it to Spock. They Jake Skywalkered Spock. Gary, are you doing a Gallifrey in California next February? Are you going to Gallifrey in California next February? Unhinged Crank, tickets are still available, and they've never been available this long. Yes, I'll go. As a matter of fact, I should buy tickets now. Usually it's sold out by now, but it's not. I wonder why. Unhinged Crank. No, somebody sent me an email going, saying that they said Gallifrey 1 is always sold out by now, and it's not. And it's because of lack of interest in the show, because it's Dr. Karen. We got Dr. Karen. We got in Doctor Who. We got Captain Karen in the MCU. And we got freaking, just Karen Ray leading Star Wars now, who might be Darth Karen, which would be interesting. Bjorn for 20 Swedish crowns. Thank you, Bjorn. It's good to see you. If going to Wales, bring your own sheep. I don't think they'll let me bring it from California. And Bjorn, I was just trying to help the sheep over the fence. That's all I was doing. It's a joke there. Not a banned account. No, $1.99. Is there still hope for hashtag Raylo? God, I hope so. I hope there's hope for Raylo. I really do. I hold out for Raylo. Jason Smoot, another great show. Thanks. Well, thanks to you guys. Thank you, Jason Smoot, for $2. I couldn't believe that last show was like, that was a lot of people watching. Professor McCoy's pop culture reviews for $5. I know this was not on your question, but give Heilsrich a try for 40K fan films. What's Heilsrich? I can't even pronounce it. Heilsrich. I'll give it a try. Is it Warhammer? Warhammer stuff? Everybody tells me to get into that. It might be up my alley. Mark Hamill's voice, the scientist Skeksis in the prequel series. It's his Joker voice. It sounded like it. Yeah, Dark Crystal's really good. And Nicholas, I always want to go do something else. It's really, really good and not for me. That's just the way I can put it, but I don't mean to besmirch it. All right. We're going to wrap it up, folks. Right after this, Scarro Trek for $5. I went to my local Halloween shop. They had 0 adult Star Wars costumes and only 3 or 4 for kids, all the way in the back of the store because of lack of interest. Yeah, I mean, like, this is prime Halloween season. Well, you know what? I mean, who wants to... Ray is wearing bed sheets and, she never wears anything. She never graduated from Star Wars Luke uniform. I always liked Luke in his Bespin uniform. That was my favorite, the Bespin costume, the brown, whatever the hell he's wearing. So yeah, we're gonna wrap it up right here. I got stuff to do. Thank you. We had, like 1,200 people hanging in here the whole time. That was pretty awesome. The Grand Inquisitor for $5. Hail, Gary. Just sent you an email with a Vic Mignogna Trump tweet meme. Hail, Nerdrotic. Hail, the Phantom Menace. And hail, Vic Mignogna. Hail, Vic Mignogna. By the way, God, I missed him at Star Trek Las Vegas. That sucked. Yeah, so the next show is going to be Friday Night Tights. We're going to have a bunch of guests on, so join us at 5 p.m. Pacific time. I'm probably going to do another Nerdrotic Nooner tomorrow morning. But then I have the Exozone on the Harvey channel at 1 p.m. That's Doomcock's alternate channel tomorrow. So 2 live streams tomorrow. Working on a couple videos right now. And then there will be the Inquisition on Doomcock's channel this Sunday. This Friday, with John F. Trent, I am covering the first episode of Titans Season 2. It'll be sometime in the morning. Keep an eye at nerdrotic.com for the live stream schedule. You can also go to that website and hear all of these as audio podcasts. If I don't keep this live stream on the channel, it will be at Nerdrotic Live within a couple hours. So you can catch it there. And you could also catch the audio version on my website. I have a Patreon. There's a bunch of tiers. You can go check it out. A couple of the tiers are retired because they're old. We got some new ones there that have commentaries, and you were supposed to get a daily nooner, and you're going to get that. You're going to get a pre-nooner. So I went live on the Patreon prior to this show. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you everybody for supporting. We got one more hinter. Olvetan. Thank you for the 20 Danish crowns. And no comment. And I will see you next time. I'll probably have a video out in the morning. Follow me on Twitter at Nerdrotics. Everybody have a great day, and not all who wander are lost.